Breeze Nation, what is good? It is your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. We got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, as the Chicago Bulls have done what we thought they would not do. They have fired, I'm getting choked up about it, Artūras Karnišovas and Marc Eversley. We got to talk about what this means for the team moving forward, what this is going to mean for the organization, and is a Billy Donovan change coming, or is he sticking around with an opportunity to build his program in his image? All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Big shout out to you guys for tuning in and showing love as always, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Soo Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. So, like I was saying, listen, many Bulls fans did not think that this day was coming anytime soon, but in fact, the Chicago Bulls have made the move that many of us believed that ownership might truly just continue to ignore the issue on. Per Shams Charania, the Chicago Bulls have dismissed Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations Artūras Karnišovas and General Manager Marc Eversley. He said, since hiring Karnišovas to head basketball operations in 2020, the Bulls went 224 and 254, made one playoff appearance, and now missing the postseason for the fourth straight season. Bulls CEO and president Michael Reinsdorf decided Monday to make a change to the team's basketball direction. Now, listen, I said this morning on the Morning Breeze, embarrassment goes a lot further than losses for the Chicago Bulls, right? I don't think that this happens if the Bulls weren't genuinely embarrassed by how the organization was represented with the entire Jaden Ivey situation, right? I don't think that this change is made if not for the national media, for the Bill Simmons podcast and things like that, that looked in at the Bulls for the first time in probably years and went, my goodness, like, I don't know how to tell you this, but it's worse than we thought that it could be. It's not just Jaden Ivey. It's all of these other things as well that are problems here. I think embarrassment goes a lot further for the Reinsdorfs than anything. And AK, by making these deals, making these moves, making, subsequent issues and things like that have happened, essentially embarrass the Chicago Bulls organization, and it seems like that was the final straw. Hit that like button if you are excited that Artūras Karnišovas and Marc Eversley are gone. I have to get an entirely new set of memes because I don't know who's coming in here. But what I do love about this now, the Bulls doing this in season. There are still 4 games left in the season. Billy Donovan currently is still here. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that UNC job has actually been filled by Mike Malone. Let me double check and make sure. Yeah, UNC 46 minutes ago intends to hire longtime NBA coach Mike Malone as the school's next men's basketball head coach. So the Billy Donovan of this whole matter could still be up in the air. But I think Billy finally going to ownership and saying, listen, I get what we want this thing to be, but he has chosen wrong. I have said I wanted different players, and he's gone with guys that he believed in. And guess what? Those guys suck. Billy Donovan is on record wanting Walker Kessler. Billy Donovan has talked glowingly about Derek Queen, and yet we went with Noah Essengay, who we don't know much about yet, so I'm not going to have an issue with Noah Essengay just yet. And we went with Dalen Terry in those situations, right? So drafts that have continued to not have products come out of them that have been beneficial to the team. I think it's Billy Donovan going to ownership and finally saying, listen, like, I get it. I get what you want. You want continuity. You want all this. He is not the answer. And they love Billy in that building. 110%, they love Billy. So, whatever that's going to end up turning into, I think that was the voice that finally was like, listen, this is the straw that's breaking the camel's back. We've got the Jaden Ivey situation. We've got all these other situations that you have put the organization in. We're not going to stand for this. We're ready to make a change. I think that's the one, to me, that broke the camel's back. And you know what? Bottom line, however you got him out of here, I think that this is a great day for you. And I love the fact that the Bulls are doing this with 4 games left in the season, because you get a leg up that other organizations probably aren't going to take as of yet. Now, the Dallas Mavericks are somebody who is also looking for a president of basketball operations with how they made some changes there. So they are in this mix as well. But you have to get yourself in position to go after the biggest fish on the market. We heard Bob Myers as a name for the Chicago Bulls here. We heard Mike Dunleavy Jr. as a name for the Chicago Bulls here. I think if you're in the Bob Myers race, this is how you do it. You get ahead of it before anyone else is out there trying to get in on Bob Myers. You get ahead of it before anyone else has a conversation to be had about who's going to be their next president of basketball operations. Put yourself at the forefront where you're able to pick up the phone first. I don't know if Bob Myers is going to be uber successful for the Bulls. I would assume so. I've seen what he did in Golden State. I know that people look at later on, right? Some of the signings he made, some of the trades that happened, and the Jordan Poole situation, and say he didn't handle that right. But remember, that's after 4 rings came in, right? If we get to the point where we're sitting here with 4 rings, completely different conversation I'm willing to have with you, right? Okay, Bob Myers, it didn't work out, but 4 championships later, thank you, God. I would love to see the Bulls do this, and to me, this is a big boy organization move. Now, you got to string a bunch of these together in a row. But this is a big boy organization move where you say, hey, we have no choice but to go out here and try and give ourselves the best opportunity to get ahead of everyone else. Because guess what? The Dallas Mavericks can come to Bob Myers and say, we got Cooper Flagg. We've still got Kyrie Irving. We've still got young pieces that you can make work here, right? There are teams around the league that are in much better positions than you. You're in a great position cap-wise. You're in a great position draft capital-wise, but you're not in a great position talent-wise right now. Really, all you're going to bat with is Matas Buzelis and Josh Giddey. And so I think in that situation, you want to get ahead of the competition as much as possible. Like I said, big boy organization move. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I think that this is going to be interesting to see now what the next move is. Here's the big thing. To me, with Billy Donovan in this, right? We have seen him for the coach that he is. We have seen what he is as an NBA coach, in my opinion. If you're going to get elite talent for Billy Donovan, very different conversation on where I'm at with Billy Donovan as a head coach, but I still feel the way that I feel. The one thing I feel happy about, and as a Bulls fan, you should feel happy about, Billy got them guys out of here. Whether he takes credit for it or not, I think Billy got them guys out of here. So I'll give him credit for that, right? That brought him a lot of love to me from the Bulls fan base. But as far as head coaches go, to me, I look at Billy Donovan as a coach that if you got Kevin Durant, you go to the Western Conference Finals with him. You could be a game away from the finals, and it still may not get done, right? He's had a ton of talent. He's had solid talent here early on. Never were able to replicate that. Never were able to find that point guard position again. To me, he's fine. But I don't want fine anymore. You're resetting the organization. Now, if you want to have a conversation on, because from what it seems like and how it's been reported around Billy Donovan, right, he is somebody who was able to identify some of this talent that was available, wanted to go this direction. AK wanted to go this direction. They go different directions. Now, all of a sudden, the better player is sitting somewhere else, and Billy has to coach the person that AK wanted. That tells me that there's an eye for talent there. I think that we know that about Billy Donovan anyway, that he kind of has that because of how good he was in college, right? Like he can see, okay, this guy's going to translate well. This is what this guy does well. This is the kind of team that we want to build here. I would be surprised, but it wouldn't completely stun me if a promotion into, hey, Billy, do you want to be a GM type of thing happened internally. More than likely the scenario, though, that I think that we're heading towards is Billy Donovan's either going to take a year off or go find a better job for him somewhere else where there's already some talent in place where he can go out there and try and coach that team to the next level. I think that Billy Donovan is probably looking for a breath of fresh air. I think he loves it here. From everything that's been reported around Billy, he loves Chicago. He loves the people in Chicago. He loves the city of Chicago. He loves the team. It hasn't worked here. Sometimes you need to get a break from that. Doesn't mean you can never come back to Chicago, right? Doesn't mean he can't still coach in the NBA. But to me, there is a ceiling with Billy as a coach. If you want to have a conversation about a GM, if you want to have a conversation about him, helping the team as far as acquiring talent and things like that, that's a different conversation. Right, because I think Bob Myers coming in, we kind of know what that would be, and it would give Billy an opportunity to learn that role and still be inside of the organization. But I'm not looking to have Billy Donovan back as a coach, because even if you go out there and you find elite talent, we've seen what that can be with Billy. I think that those coaches exist around the NBA. Those coaches are still there around the NBA. And if you want to talk about the X's and O's guys, I think Billy's incredibly intelligent, and what he does well, he does do well, right? Some of those elbow DHOs that you see him draw up and things like that. Like, I think those are really good things that still are good frameworks within his offense. But bottom line on all of this, there's a cap there. Let a new president come in, let him hire his GM, let him hire his head coach. Do not go back to the same well of what you've been living in. And you guys know, I have probably been, while I don't want Billy Donovan here, while I haven't wanted him as a head coach, while I've said he's pretty much what a lot of these guys around the league are, I don't put the final blame on him. I think that Billy has gotten guys open a ton, and guys just got to knock down shots. We've seen that not happen here a lot, because you got a lot of guys that can't shoot. But the bottom line of all of this is you are now in a position to reset everything within the organization. How do you miss that opportunity? How do you miss that opportunity? Because here's the thing, right? Like, let's say if Mike Malone was still available, or throw a coach's name out there, right? Because I have said this many times. I feel that most coaches around the league, throw a Nick Nurse out there, throw a Mike Budenholzer out there, let's say Monty Williams is available, right? Throw a Monty Williams in there. Who's another name? Throw a Frank Vogel in there, right? These guys are all the same. Their philosophies are different. I think Frank Vogel more of a defensive coach than an offensive coach. So their philosophies are different. But the bottom line is, you give them superstar player, they can win a lot of games. They don't have superstar player, lots of games lost. Right? Monty Williams was the greatest thing since sliced bread when he had Chris Paul and Devin Booker dominating. Then he needed to go over there and develop young talent in Detroit when things weren't perfect and it wasn't a great situation for you to be in. And guess what? Oh, he all of a sudden he can't coach. How do you become such a terrible coach? He didn't. Just don't have talent. So to me, if you're talking about some of those next level names, start looking at the guys that had success where the talent wasn't greatest. Start looking at guys that had success where the roads were rocky. I look at a Taylor Jenkins, and he's the one that I get excited about. I look at Taylor Jenkins, and I'm like, yo, this is the kind of coach right here who Ja Morant was in the lineup. He was out of the lineup. He dealt with a ton of injuries, and he still found his way to win 50 games in the Western Conference. He might be one of those guys that you look at and say, when the X's and O's are on the table, he can beat you with his team. Oh, by the way, if you go out there and you give him your team and you give him a week, he might beat you with your team. Don Burr in the building says, shout out JB Bickerstaff. I'll agree with you on that. JB Bickerstaff might be one of those guys. JB Bickerstaff has coached that Detroit team through the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and come out on the other side to the point where I would say I agree with you, Don Burr. He is a better coach. There are not many of those guys in the NBA. You're not going to look around and find a ton of those guys in the NBA. You're just not. Spo, the Warriors kind of looked really bad without Stephen Curry on the floor. So I don't know if I can say Steve Kerr. I'm trying to think of another one in the league. Suppose the obvious one. I would throw Tyronn Lue in there. I would throw Tyronn Lue. I think that he is really done a phenomenal job, especially with the start that they were off to. I believe he's one game away from hitting his goal, saying we need to go 34-20 to finish out the season. Or 35-20 to finish out the season. I would throw Tyronn Lue in there. But like, there's not a million guys you can look at around the NBA and say that guy can coach no matter the situation. So to me, right, finding those guys is a little bit more difficult. But I would rather see the Bulls take that chance than going with the recycle, than going with the retread, than going with what we've already seen in the building. Heck, I'll be honest with you. Here's a name. Now, if we're going from the players, because I saw a couple of players mentioned, if we're going from the players that we think could be solid head coaches in the NBA, there's a player that played here in this league. There's a player that played here in this league that as a first-time head coach, I would love to see a chance. I would love to see get a chance. And it would be a straight-up JJ Redick type of situation where you're going, this dude has never coached before. He's never been on a staff. He's never been on a bench. Let's see how it works. Rajon Rondo is a name that I would love to see get into the coaching mix. Rajon Rondo is a name that I would love to see come in here and work with some of these young guys, especially a guy like a Josh Giddey. If you're going to go from the player perspective of unproven. Now, as far as the proven coaches, I talked about Taylor Jenkins. I think that he's phenomenal. He'd be a coach that I would love to have in here. College ranks, if you could find a way to convince Dan Hurley to leave, I guess I would be, excited about that. But there's not a lot of guys that I think in the college ranks are looking to come to the NBA that have had a litany of success out there. Most of the guys that are having the most success in college have been in college or have come to the NBA for a little while and then, have failed here and gone back to college. So like, there's not a lot of names in college that I'm looking at. I mean, even one of the names that is in college that is having a ton of success that you would call a up and coming coach we had here in Fred Hoiberg. So I would be good. I'm not going after the college names in that, conversation, in that situation. To me, I think there's also a name on your team that you did see coach pretty well through some of the adversity that he went through in a Wes Unseld Jr. I think that he is somebody who could get another chance, especially who has some head coaching experience, who has already worked with the team, right? There's a lot of good things that could go right there. If you're going to use somebody who's a previous head coach, I think as far as the play calling scenarios and things like that, there just was really not a ton of talent on that Washington team that he was coaching. So that would be one that would interest me as well. And again, he's worked with if you still expect, because this is what happens when regime changes happen, right? Whoever comes in as the new president of basketball operations, and let me make sure I'm going back to Twitter here just to be sure that nothing new has come out on this. Okay, nothing for the last 25 minutes. Cool. Whoever you bring in, right? Josh Giddey's under a microscope. Modest Buzelis is under a microscope. I mean, that's kind of it. Noah Essengate will be under a microscope, but we haven't seen anything from Noah Essengate, so we don't know what he's going to be. Like, there are some serious names a part of it that are under a microscope that we think are a part of the future of this team. You might not be. You might not be. So if you went with a Wes Unseld Jr., he may have a belief that Modest and Giddey are a part of the future of this team and say, I need those guys for me to be successful. But the bottom line of all of this is the situation that you're in right now. You could be talking about a true clean house. You could be talking about a true clean house where the talent on the team is different, the names on the team is different, the coach is different, the GM is different, the president is different. You should be tied to nothing that is a part of this organization right now. If it ain't tied down, it might be going with you. And you know what? Listen, There's two things that I'm happy about. Number one, we know one name will definitely be gone once they can find a way to, even if the Bulls have to take some money back, he'll probably be gone. Patrick Williams is done. More than likely, Patrick Williams is done in this town. Number two, because if a coach comes in and finds a way to develop Patrick Williams, you got the right one. Crown him. Number two, clap it up that we don't have to hear AK give an end-of-season press conference again. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, thank you, Lord. On that alone, I know that you are real. On that alone, I know that you are rocking with us here, Lord. Because I couldn't have taken one more AK press conference. See, we believe in what we have. And Joe, you have to understand, Joe, that we have the talent, we have the pieces, we have the players, we have the coach. We just have to put it all together. No, you have nothing. You legitimately have nothing. Thank God that we don't have to listen to another one of those. Oh, and I don't have to be pissed that Mark Eversley isn't even in the room. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in to show love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We over 100 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat. Over 300 in the chat. Over 400 in the chat. 400. Big shout out to y'all, man. Big shout out to y'all. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this, man. How are you guys feeling about our Artūras Karnišovas being shown the door by the Chicago Bulls? I thank God that it has finally happened, man. Big shout out to y'all for tuning in and showing love. Did we get some super chats? I thought we got a super chat up in here. ISO Noah with the super chat. He said, hey, Pat, Christmas came early, brother. Listen, if that was under my tree, thank you to the heavens. VO said the Jaden Ivey situation ended AK and Mark. Bro, legitimately. And I would say two things. Jaden Ivey, right? Shout out to the evangelist. And I would say seeing how good Ayo Dosunmu was the second he left Chicago. Seeing how good Ayo Dosunmu was the second he left the city. There's no way anybody in basketball could have looked around and gone, bro, what'd you think you were getting back for this? What did you think was going to happen here? Ayo and Kobe. I don't know as much about Kobe, right? Kobe's replaceable. I've said it, Kobe's in the draft this year. What Kobe White is in the draft this year. There's a bunch of players that are like Kobe White. They're going to be really good scorers. They're going to be able to, have a little bit of on-ball facilitating skill. You know, they'll play their hardest on defense, and it'll be solid. And, you know, they may be consistent. They may not. We'll see. Kobe White's in this draft. Ayo Dosunmu are hard to come by. A player that is mentally willing to do whatever you ask. A player that is not looking to be a star on the team, but if you need him to step into a star role, he's willing to do so. That's hard to find. You're taking players from all over the world. Think about what Ayo was at Illinois. If you're an Illinois fan, Ayo was heralded at Illinois. He was the guy. Him and Kofi Coburn. I'm calling him Coburn because I don't want the jokes right now. And he came to Chicago, ends up being a second-round pick, gets the opportunity and says, you know what? Let's figure this out. Let's figure out what my role is going to be in the NBA, because clearly they don't see what I'm actually able to do. Developed in his time through the league, became an elite premier defender, became somebody who I think has one of the quickest first steps in basketball, became the guy that is willing to take whatever role you're willing to put him in. No matter the role, he took it like a soldier and just kept moving on, and you got rid of that guy? I'll be honest with you. Now, it's not the same scale because I think Jimmy's a star. I don't know if Io becomes a star. Maybe he does, but he wasn't a star here. But it is as fireable an offense as moving on from Jimmy Butler. And the reason I say that is you saw a player that clearly was talented and helped your team, and you went, that's not helpful. That's how you get fired. That's how organizations move on from you. So to me, I love the fact that, you know, the trade deadline went down the way it did. Realistically speaking, there is no money on the books. Realistically speaking, the Bulls have all their draft capital, and there is nothing but opportunity for a new GM to come in here and rebuild this team in his own image. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Shout out to you guys. Who else? Don Bird left a couple of comments. Who'd you say, Don Bird? Say you better give Sam Cassell a call for a head coach job. Better get him from Boston. I'm not mad at a Sam Cassell. Sam Cassell and Rajon Rondo are kind of in the same vein, but Sam Cassell has the coaching experience, right? Not head coaching experience, but has the coaching experience. I would be very intrigued with Sam Cassell as far as a coach. One, I think he's got that old school mentality that you would like to have. Two, of course, we know he knows the game in a very elite level. And I think that he's come up in the coaching world understanding, okay, this is what it was, this is what it could be, and has that player aspect that I think you can never go wrong with. You know, if you're talking about like being able to relate to the guys that are on the floor, you can't do that more than if you're a player. If you're talking about asking a ton from a player to put them into a championship scenario, who better to ask from that than a Sam Cassell? Sam Cassell would not be a bad name, in my opinion, at all. I'd be very intrigued by Sam Cassell. I think, you know, it'd be interesting to see what kind of sets he runs and things like that. But again, pairing a point guard with a point guard, I'm here for it. Right? Pairing some of these guys that have been elite facilitators with Josh Giddey. Like I said this, and y'all know how I feel. I am not a Jason Kidd fan as far as a coach. I am not a Jason Kidd fan as far as a coach. I'm not. I know he's been to a finals. He had Luka. I feel the same way about J. Kidd that I feel about a lot of these coaches. But if you told me you could pair Jason Kidd up with Josh Giddey and he could see the floor, Giddey could see the floor the same way that Kidd can, and would go, hey, listen, if you make this pass here, he's just going to be running. He's going to get the ball. You're going to be able to finish at the rim. I'm here for it. Well, I heard something big buzzing behind me. We had that season, huh? Got to make sure we seal these windows. Oh, it's a bee on the window. All right. I'm going to make sure that I keep an eye on him. All right. Like, I think that there are scenarios where you get certain players with you and all of a sudden you see, you know, how those things kind of can develop. So I'm excited by the fact that the Bulls have this opportunity. Here's the bottom line, though. Don't waste it. Don't F it up. Don't go out there and I'll say this. The other name that was thrown out there, Mike Dunleavy Jr. I don't need someone, as Hayes said on Locked On Bulls today, I don't need somebody who's within the family. I don't need somebody who is a former Bull or who has been a part of the organization and knows how Jerry likes to run things as the next president of the basketball operation. When I look at Mike Dunleavy Jr., to me, look at how you saw him handle the Jonathan Kuminga scenario, and you tell me that was the right move. You had first-round picks offered for Mike Dunleavy Jr. Legitimate first-round pick, legitimate draft capital for Mike Dunleavy Jr. And you didn't want it? You wanted Kristaps Porzingis? That's your answer? That's a bad place to be living if that's your answer. Like, I look at that scenario and I see how many first round picks he passed on. I see how many teams came to him that he passed up, and I see AK in Mike Dunleavy's body. Love the player. Mike Dunleavy got one of the most fun games we've ever seen in the United Center. Remember, he's raining all those threes after he takes the big shot to the temple. Who hit him? Was it Giannis that hit him? Or somebody? What did that Bucks playoff series? He's bleeding. They stitch him up. He comes back out. He knocks down a bunch of threes. Bulls dominate and win. Let him live as the player he is. We don't need to Robin Ventura this thing. Let him live as the player he is. Hey, man, listen, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I'm going to get up out of here because I clearly have to go do Locked On Bulls now, so I'll set that up. Me and Hayes will be live probably in about 15, 20 minutes on Locked On Bulls, so tap in with us on that. If you want to see mock draft tonight, we will be mocking your socks off tonight, so tap in tonight. The entire crew should be in the building, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing the mock draft tonight. Like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do as always, man. It's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. The Chicago Bulls finally did it. Hey, you know what? We'll probably be talking more Bulls on this channel from now on because there's something to talk about. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Bear down. C-Red. Yeah, you see how much Bears we talk on this channel? C-Red Nation, stand up. Big shout out to you guys. I'm sure Philly, the 4th, will have something coming out on the Chicago Bulls brief, so make sure that you